Tonight is chicken enchiladas verde, green salsa style. So I'm going to show you my steps. First of all, I'm preparing the chicken early today so that it has time to cool so I can shred it. The way that I prepare my chicken is I use breasts, and I'll show you a couple little tricks. Instead of salt, because you obviously want to season your water, instead of salt I use these sorts of things, which when using these you always want to look and see the ingredients, and the number one ingredient that in this is salt. Typically it is when you get your mixed seasonings. Lemon pepper, number one ingredient, salt. So Lowry seasoning salt, those sort of things, they're yummy. Just know that the first ingredient, so the largest amount, is salt. But in this case it's perfect because not only will it salt my water, but it's going to add the extra seasoning too. So anyway, that's what I'm doing, and I'm using 2 packets. I'll dump that in the water. My water is a slow boil because I don't want to go crazy on these breasts because I want to shred them later. I don't want them to be tough. So we'll get that going. I also, in this case, like to add kind of a medium or rough chop onion because it softens up with the meat. So as I start shredding, the onion just kind of gets shredded in with it. So that's just 1 chopped onion. And then here's a couple other tips. I'm going to add crushed garlic cloves to my water. This is how I do it. It's easy and it's mess free. I just put them in a baggie, put them in a little circle there, take my meat tenderizer, boom, garlic paste. And then same thing, this is great as I'm shredding the chicken because these pieces of garlic that have not only salted or seasoned the water in my chicken are now going to be meshed in with my shredded chicken. Anytime I use chicken breasts in something like this, really anytime I use chicken breasts, I have to be honest, I give them a couple pounds. It really, 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 really makes the difference. So I buy in bulk and I vac pack all my meats. So they're already in there and I know it's sealed, so I do my pound while it's in here. So just a couple. Into the water. Again, it's going to slowly boil, so you want to kind of watch that. And as much as I prefer cooking and just kind of guesstimating things, in this sort of scenario, you don't want your cooking to your chicken to overcook. So what I do is when I think by test, you know, when it's raw, you see how it's kind of lumpy. As it hardens, you know it's getting cooked. So what I will do is come along, lift it up, use my meat thermometer. I have an instant read one, and double check. 165 is your target. Know that if you stop it at 160, by the time you get it to the plate, it's probably at 165 because, as we all know, they do continue to cook. So get this going and see you for the next step. I'm back for step 2. I have shredded my chicken, and as you can see, I leave some of that yummy juice in there. It's healthy because it's been boiling for a long time, but it keeps your chicken moist. So to that, I'm going to add, this is a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of coriander, because those two go great together, and a teaspoon of my Yummo seasoning that I mix myself. I will soon upload a video of what it goes in Yummo. I use it on everything, absolutely everything. So cumin, coriander, and Yummo. This is fresh cilantro. We love it in this house. So this is probably double what most people, normal people use. I really don't know because we love it so much. But use that depending on how much you love fresh cilantro. I also use a can of diced green chilies, fire roasted and peeled. I have drained off most of the juice in this. These are not hot. They just give it the perfect flavor. And then just some lime juice because it gives it that authentic flavor. So what I'm doing here is this meat is going to kind of mix and marinate throughout the day. I probably am going to add a little more salt and pepper too. I'm going to get it all mixed up and I'll taste it. The only salt that's in it is from that Sazon seasoning from earlier in the day. So that's what my filling is going to look like. The next step in my chicken enchiladas is the verde sauce that goes over the top. It's equal parts, essentially, maybe 2/3 sour cream, 1/3 green salsa. And then I have cumin, coriander, and yummo. It's 2 parts cumin to 1 part yummo and 1 part coriander. So let's get that in. And I'm going to mix this into the sour cream first. That way we know that it is all dissolved. And then basically the salsa verde thins this out enough to pour and gives it the yummy flavor from the tomatillas. I've never made homemade salsa verde with, roasting the tomatillas and all that. Someday I'm going to try it. But this brand right here is amazing. They all are amazing. Sometimes I'll just buy what's on sale. Most of the time I just grab this one because it's really good. So you can see, again, it was about 2 parts sour cream to 1 part green salsa. And it's going to have a thickness to it, but also be pourable. I would say the coriander and yummo were maybe a teaspoon and the cumin was a tablespoon. Okay, if you can see, that's the perfect consistency. And because it's sour cream, when you bake with sour cream, you know how it kind of gets puffy and yummy. So that's what happens also when you pour this over. So there you have it. Okay, the next step in the chicken enchiladas verde. My meat has been, we cooked it earlier, we shredded it, we added the green chilies, the cilantro and garlic. It's been sitting in the fridge all day. So what I'm gonna do now is just quickly saute it up a bit. I'm gonna add a little more salt and pepper because the only salt that was in it was the initial Sazon, and then a little bit when I mix everything together off camera. But it is gonna need a little more salt and pepper. It's a little bland. I do go easy on the salt because the cheese has salt, and I do top it with black olives, and black olives are salty. So I might go just a little bit less, but I tasted it and it does need a little more salt. So in my pan that's warming up, just a couple turns of extra virgin olive oil. This is sliced garlic on my planer. I am gonna add more of that because this is a good time to do that. And garlic goes good in everything. So, while that is warming up, I'm gonna let that get to where it's fragrant. It might just take 30 seconds to a minute where you can start to smell it. And then you know that it's breaking down, which, it's getting there. Alrighty, okay, so now just gonna take my chicken filling and put it in the pan. And we're gonna saute this up a bit. Okay, now I'm going to make the avocado salsa that I top the chicken enchiladas with. I have a chopped romaine tomato in here. When I chop them, I do salt them lightly. It brings out the juice, brings out the flavor. So that was a small Roma chopped. Then I have chopped avocado. And because I've already salted the tomato, I'm not going to need to salt the avocado. I have, again, the plainer fresh garlic. And then chopped tomatoes because it's really good to have some crunch. I'm sorry, chopped onions. And then what I'm going to do is pour the green salsa down over the top until I can just kind of turn it. Because you don't want this to be a salsa that would pour. More of a salsa that you're going to spoon out and top, and it will kind of stay in a little mound. Okay, so that was the Roma tomato, which off camera I'll stir better up, but you've got the chopped Roma tomato, the chopped avocado, the chopped onion, enough of the salsa verde to make it smooth, some onion. This happens to be a sweet onion, that does not matter, I use whatever I have on hand. And then this is more fresh chopped cilantro. I will put this in here also. And some pepper. Time to roll some enchiladas. So you can see it's not that much different, but it did soak up the juice and it's just a little added layer of flavor. These are white corn tortillas. A little bit of my sauce spread across the bottom. I have found the best way is to just use a spoon that's a little less than you think you would need, because I think I'm a glutton and I always overfill. So when I use this spoon, I can't get too much because it falls off. Just roll it in the middle. I pull it back and tuck a little, seam side down, lay it in there. I'm going to finish the rest of the pan and I'll be back in a minute. The enchiladas are all rolled up, topped with the remainder of the sauce, cilantro, black olives, fiesta cheese sprinkle. Remember, everything's already cooked, so it really only needs to be warmed up. I'm going to do it at 325 degrees for probably 20 to 30 minutes. I'll keep looking at the top, and that will tell me when. See you soon. I'm going to do my cilantro lime rice. The key to rice that doesn't stick, the best kind, is that's right. Rinse, 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 rinse until the water runs clear. You need all the starch off there. That's the key. So here I have 1 part rice, 2 parts water. I usually put a little more water if I'm not flavoring it, but since I'm doing my lime rice, the little extra water I'm replacing with fresh lime juice. Sprinkle of cilantro, some salt, a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and then I'll cook as the package direction says. I'm throwing together a Southwest style Caesar for Robert. I wish I had some roasted pepitas to top it with pumpkin seeds, but I don't. So we are going to improvise. I love the Marie's and the Marzetti's brand of dressings in the refrigerated section. So I have a little bit of Caesar. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that salsa verde, a little bit of cilantro. Just mix it up. It will still be Caesar, but we'll have that little Southwest zing. It's done. My Southwest Caesar, my chicken enchilada verde with the sour cream sauce, my lime cilantro rice, done and ready to be eaten. It went 25 minutes at 325 degrees. Enjoy.